Good morning, or bad. You woke up before your alarm clock rang. You couldn't go back to sleep, so you waited for it to go off. After you stopped your alarm clock, you went to your bathroom and did your usual routine. You put your contacts in and noticed how your eyes changed a deep blood brown color. You jumped back and blinked constantly, looking back at your eyes. They were back to their normal color, and you laughed thinking it was just your imagination. After all, eyes just can't magically change color, can they? Hey, I made some pancakes. You want some? Your senpai interrupted your thoughts and asked. I don't eat breakfast, senpai, but I'll take them for lunch since I don't have any money, you responded. All right, Sean, your senpai joyfully answered. It was funny since you guys were best friends, but weren't actually real senpais or chons. It was just a fun inside joke that was between you guys and a few other friends. Hey, Sean, did you know that today's the first day of the Spirit Week? Your senpai asked as soon as you walked down the stairs. Son of a blitch! What do we have to dress up as? Well, this week's theme is about winter, but being nice, I guess. Basically, you're supposed to dress up as someone from a business and work on your kindness and file your bad attitude away, so, yeah, your senpai joked. Well, that explains the tie. I know, right? Look, I made it myself and I even tied it. It was a blitz and a half, but who's counting? You laughed and took a look at your senpai's tie. It was black with chibi slender man sitting down and blushing, and went around the tie like a pattern. Nice, can we match? Fine. You walked over to a chair that had a white, gray, or black undershirt. Choosing the undershirt of your choice, you went to the tie section, consisting of a red, white, or purple tie. After picking the tie of your choice, you moved on to the skirt section, which had a black pencil skirt with a line of ruffles at the top, or a gray pencil skirt. Finally, putting on the pencil skirt of your choice, you didn't care for a blazer since you were going to have your big gray jacket over it. Then you put on your black business-looking heels. Things were okay at school. People complimented your outfit. You got a few jealous and perverted looks. Things that boosted up your self-esteem after noticing that one of your best friends didn't show up for school. You knew that she was moving due to some issues, but you were brokenhearted when she said to you a few weeks ago that she might be moving schools. Second period didn't go so well either, since that's your PE period. You were thinking about the talent show, and you were going to ask your senpai if she wanted to sing Bad Apple by Tahu with you. When you asked your senpai said that a different song would be more interesting, and that doing it alone was a good idea too. You said that you understood and went to go find Kelly, your other best friend. You caught up with her and walked until the PE teachers blew the whistle to report back to your outside PE classrooms. After PE, you got dressed again and went to language arts, the class that you usually goof around in when on the Chromebooks, or when your tablet is not being an asshat, as Kelly describes it, you go on some apps. You love this class, but you usually do these things because you already know what to do in the lesson, and since you already have a strong vocabulary. But in this particular chapter, you are learning about beauty. This catches your attention, even though you already understand true beauty and understand the meaning behind the videos your teacher shows you, and you start to fall even deeper in love with this class. Lunch went quickly, the usual begging for food since pancakes weren't enough. Kelly silenced you with her sandwich, and you happily accepted it. Kelly accidentally nudged you and something fell out of your pocket, your camcorder. You completely forgot it was in there and quickly shoved it back in. You didn't want your friends playing with it since there wasn't a necessary reasoning to be recording an entry today. Luckily, your friends didn't really care about the camcorder and were just in search of trying to find you a drink. After school was okay, since your senpai gave you a piggyback ride. After saying your goodbyes to your best friends, you started walking to your cousin's house for tutoring. You didn't do well in math and you wanted to improve. She helps you with another subject like science, but you don't really need help with anything else. You waited for your cousin inside of the familiar neighborhood. Thinking she was late, as she sometimes is, you decided to listen to some saved music on your tablet. Just then, a stranger approached you. I want to walk you to your cousin's house. It doesn't seem like they're going to come out here anytime soon. After all, a pretty lady like you shouldn't be stranded out here by yourself. You felt your body grow hot, and you couldn't decide. Should you go with him or stay here? You were speechless. Go with him or stay alone. Choice 1. You took his hand and let him walk you to your cousin's house. As soon as he walked you, you noticed how he held your hand softly. His hands were rough yet smooth. You almost started to purr. Eventually, you started to wonder what he looked like from his fedora and long black trench coat. You never did tell me how you knew my name. He didn't move his hand, but gripped your hand a bit tighter. I heard some of your friends call you that, so I assumed it was your name. Apologies if it's not. That's okay. You could tell that this was going to be a long walk since you and the kind yet handsome stranger weren't even halfway through. Sir? Yes? You're very kind. May I hug you? Of course. You both stopped walking and he knelt down, still careful not to show his face. You both embraced each other in a welcoming hug. As you wrapped your arms around him, you could tell that he was a bit hesitant and a little startled at the way you hugged him. He gave in, and you can feel him press you a little closer to his body. As soon as you saw visible abs peek from his trench coat, you blushed a little. You held the hug a little long, and you both didn't care until a car passed by. You let go and he slightly frowns, but stands up again and continues to hold your hand. As you finally get to your cousin's house, he walks you to the door and stands outside as if he was waiting for something. Reach out to knock the door, but you find it is already open. You look back at the stranger with a concerned look, but he just stands there. You walk in and go to your usual tutoring spot inside the house. To your horror, you find your cousin lay face down in a pool of her own blood. You turn around and the stranger is there, his face now visible. He didn't exactly have one, but only a mouth lay there. He grins widely as if he had eyes. They'd be staring at your skirt. You think he looks familiar, and then it hits you. A Fenderman. Aw, you know my name. How sweet, baby, he said, picking you up with white and slimy tentacles that seem to have come from nowhere. He wraps numerous tentacles around you. He brings your body way too close to his face, and he puts even more tentacles around your neck. Looks like I've got a fresh one. I'll keep you for a while before I do anything. With that, he kidnaps you and takes you somewhere that makes you wish you were home. Choice 2. You decide not to take his hand. Thanks, but no thanks. I think I'll wait a bit to see if she comes. If not, I can always hitch a ride from a friend. The stranger seemed disappointed. All right, be safe then, sweet cheeks. I'll be sure to, you said, blushing. The stranger walked out of the neighborhood and turned a corner. 3 minutes pass, no sign. Then 5, then 7. What the hell could be taking her so long, you think? Just then you see a tall woman who seems to be roller skating, with black smoke coming out of her heels that look like yours. You notice that she is wearing the same big gray jacket that you were wearing, and it looks a bit tight on her, with the same black stretchy pencil skirt that you saw at your house. The only thing is you can't even see her face since the hood is pulled up over hers. She roller skates over to you and picks you up in her arms. What the fluck? Let me go, you creep, you yell at her. Child, there is no time to explain. Please, if you'll listen. Who do you think you are? Put me down, you kidnapper. Child, please, I am no kidnapper. I am here to save you from danger, she said as she was roller skating past my cousin's house. She was going very fast considered rolling skating, but also fast but supposedly steady pace. You were about to answer when the lady in the gray jacket was clotheslined by a white tentacle that came from the stranger you saw earlier. You saw her land very hard on her back, and the stranger picked you up when you were not paying attention. You saw her watch you as the stranger carried you off somewhere you didn't know, and you were speechless. And converse with a Fenderman, getting to know him better. Meet the mansion day 1. Depending on what you chose. Choice 1, Aftermath. A Fenderman carried you all the way to his mansion. Before he brought you to the mansion, he stopped to get a pack of cigarettes. You tried to escape, but he caught you and grabbed your wrist tightly. He forcefully made you apologize for your actions toward him, and then he let go of your wrist. You were afraid of what he could do, and you remember what he did at your cousin's house. You started to wonder about his capabilities until you were interrupted by drowsiness. You started to feel somewhat safe in his arms despite the fact of how he just hurt you. With the feeling of comfort, you fell asleep in his arms. You woke up a few hours later with a stab of cold wind hitting your face. You started to shiver slightly, and a fender man responded by putting you inside of his trench coat to keep you warm. Your face pressed against his chest, and you remembered that same nervous feeling from back when you had first met him. You kept having the urge to lick his face, but instead you purred slightly. A fender man was somewhat amused by this, and he smiled at you. After he walked with you in his arms for a good 5 minutes, you both finally reached a tall stone mansion. It looked very odd and old, and had some cracks in it. The mansion did not look sturdy, but you begged to differ once you saw the inside. The inside was dark and dusty, and there were rows of books and comfy lounge chairs accompanied with small coffee tables. As you looked around more, you began to notice that there was a staircase on the left and right side of the room. Both of them led to an open hallway that had a wonderful view of the room. The hallway was also led to an open hallway that had a wonderful view of the room. The hallway has led to another set of stairs that would lead to more beautiful rooms, and consisting of more and more, as if it were an endless hallway of rooms. As you were enjoying the view, he led you to a room straight in front of him. When he opened the doors, it showed a dining room with playful streaks of moonlight showing through. "Take your clothes off," he said, while putting you down. "What? Why? Please, no, I'm not ready," you protested with panic, since you already knew who a Fenderman was, and his reputation was very popular. "Trust me, you can do it," he said, blushing. You slowly unzipped your big gray jacket doubtfully and took off your clothes that you wore throughout the day. The only thing you had on was your undergarments. He stared at your body for a second without you noticing as you were looking away in irritation. He then walked you over to a gray cabinet and pulled out 4 stunning dresses. 2 were gray, 1 was white, accompanied by a corset, and the other one black. You can pick. You ended up with the beautiful dress of your choice. "Wow, you look beautiful in it. Thank you." He tilted his head and smirked as in saying no problem. He walked you over to the head of the table and pulled out your chair to sit in. After you sat down, he sat at the other side of the short gray table. "I'm not very good at apologies, so this is me saying I'm sorry for what happened back there," he said while blushing and tilting his fedora down. "It's all right. My cousin must have hurt you in order for you to kill her." He nodded and pulled out his shoulder from his trench coat to show you a nasty bandage wound that had blood coming out of it, and it was poorly wrapped around and needed a bit more medical attention than it once had. "Now, let's eat," he said, and clapped his hands, ignoring the subject that just happened. 2 servants came out of the shadows and laid a covered plate. Once they opened it, you started to eat and converse with the Fenderman, getting to know him better. Meet the Mansion, Day 1. Choice 2, Aftermath. You blacked out after a while and woke up in a strange yet beautiful mansion. You didn't know how you got there, but the last thing you remembered was waiting for your cousin inside of the neighborhood. You looked around the room and tried to move. You noticed that you were tied to a very soft lounge chair, and your clothes were changed. You were wearing a white, soft silk and short nightgown. You would have liked it if it wasn't so short and revealing. Once your eyes adjusted to the dark brown downstairs of what you assumed was a mansion, you saw 2 purple eyes staring at you. You saw them examine you, which made you very uncomfortable since you were already shy, and you were the shyest one of your friends. Finally, the stranger stepped out of the shadows. "Do you remember me?" he asked. "Yes, you're the stranger who asked me if you wanted to walk me to my cousin's house, which you declined." "Yes. Do you remember anything else?" "No, why?" "Just asking." You shifted uncomfortably in the chair. "What happened to me? How did I get here? And where is my cousin?" The stranger didn't respond for a short time, and only looked at the wooden floor, but looked back up at you to respond. I'm not sure what happened to your cousin, but what I do know is that you were jumped by a crazy lady who just lost her job. I still happened to be nearby and I felt bad, so I decided to bring you here. For a week. A week? Are you crazy? I mean, that's how long my Thanksgiving vacation was. I'm flattered you came to save me, but a week? He looked at you. Well, we are all the way in Fenton, and I don't know, something about you makes me not want to treat you like the others. Fenton? Wait, how did we get here so fast? Look, Sweet Cheeks, if I promise to show you my face, promise not to scream. You nodded your head. The stranger revealed his face and you stared at his purple eyes that went black inside of his head. His mouth remained, but it stopped grinning. His eyes retracted, and it showed just a pale blank face with a smile on it. You stay silent as you realize who he is. A Fender man. Are you going to... Not yet, at least. You felt relieved. To your surprise, he looked up at you quickly and urgently. Are you going to scream? Call me disgusting? I don't judge. Plus, you're not going to do me any harm now, anyways, you say, smiling. He untied you and leads you to a dining room. He lets you choose out of 4 dresses from an old gray cabinet. 2 are gray, 1 is white and accompanied with a green corset, and 1 is black. You chose the dress of your choice. He complimented you in it, and you thanked him. Dinner was already on the table, so you began to eat and talk about yourselves. After dinner, you both walked around for a bit. You both were inside and walked around, even though it was... You both were outside and walked around, even though it was nighttime and cold. Eventually, you both were about to go inside after you were done gazing at the moonlight. When you turned around, he leaned in for a kiss. You happily accepted and asked him what it was for. For understanding, he simply said. After that, you both went back inside and sat around the fireplace on the left of the downstairs room and talked some more.